Hey, everybody. Uh, Definitely talking about image today. Um, I think this is going to be pivotal for some people and their lives. Um, I truly believe that perspective is everything. Your perspective feeds your attitude and vice versa. I mean, either way you want to put it, you could say it starts with one and leads to the other, but they kind of go hand in hand. Um, but today we're going to speak about image, and I'm going to uh, place a question for you that you need to ask yourself and be as sober and honest with yourself as possible. And this question is, are you projecting or are you reflecting? All right. Now the context of this is your image, right? And we are created in the image of God. The Bible describes God's refining process of us to the process of refining silver. And I recently became educated on that process. And when the silversmith is refining silver, he knows when it's done because when he slides it out of the oven, he can see his image in it like a mirror, right? So when you're submitted to God, when allow that process of sanctification, going through trials, dealing with unlovable people, whatever it is for you specifically, that whole process is to get you to reflect God's glory, right? So you carry yourself in the fruits of the spirit, peace, love, humility, um, the whole nine. But we live in a society that has such an identity crisis. Um, and that is from this need to project. All right. It comes from a place of feeling insufficient, insecure, like you're not enough, and that literally means that at some point in your life, the enemy has lied to you, whether it's to you directly or had people tell you you're ugly, whatever it is, or you're not smart, whatever it is. And you subscribe to this lie. So now you spend all this effort projecting the image that is opposite to that lie instead of submitting to God and being his mirror and reflecting his image, reflecting his glory, being the person that he made you to be. While we are all unique, different DNA, different fingerprints, everything was planned down to the tiniest atomic detail of you by God. We are still all made in his image to reflect his love, kindness, glory, etc. And you have to accept that. You have to accept who you are. And until you come in alignment with that, you are going to project what you think the world wants you to see or what you yourself want you to look like. And this is very problematic. All right. So, one of the most painful things I think for people to experience is rejection. But when you don't accept yourself for who you are and be yourself, that is the greatest rejection you can ever experience because you are literally rejecting yourself. All right. You are literally living in this lie, and it's really circular, right? It's like a circular conversation. It goes nowhere, but it's within yourself. Like you are something different than what you are trying to project, and it's taking all your effort, energy, money. Think about it. I know so many wealthy people that wear like $30 sneakers, right? Like my dad. He wasn't super wealthy, but he had a business, he was well off, and he had those same like dad white New Balances with the blue N on them, you know what I mean? Like, and he just would wear a pair out and go buy the same shoes. And as a kid, like, I'm just like, man, come on, dad, polish yourself up. But He wasn't trying to project that he had money or was successful. He was just comfortable and confident in himself, right? Um, this is something that poverty, like the enemy will use poverty to do. And it's so self-defeating because people that struggle the most financially, right? Especially if they come from a background of poverty, when they get money, they buy really expensive clothes, really expensive sunglasses, jewelry, cars, whatever it is, to project this image that they are financially sound and well off and well manicured. It's all about their image. But the reality of their life is that the cost of that image is remaining poor. You know, when you align yourself with who you are, you don't have to project anything. Like you can just be honest, like, yeah, I'm poor. You know what I mean? I'm working on it. Right. And it's not a big deal. And it doesn't, you don't look at people's judgments because you are secure and confident in who you are. Now, if you take that same person and they reflect instead of project, they can use that money that was wastefully used trying to look like something different than what their life is. And they can build their life into what they want their life to look like. So they are living in reality and not in this double-minded delusion where, I come home and my reality is this, but I have to pretend to be something else everywhere else I go. The the devil's very cunning. He knows how to use fear, insecurity, all these things against us. And image is huge. All right. Because if you can come into alignment with who God made you to be, then you can walk in purpose. And when you walk in purpose, like God just opens doors. He makes lights green for us. He puts favor on us so other people want to help us. Um, but he can't do a lot of those things when we're trying to pretend, or well, not trying to, when we are pretending to be something that we aren't. And the problem is that this is so well rooted in a lot of us that we don't even know we're pretending anymore. Like it is just normal. You know, I remember like when I was younger, like seeing somebody wear something that looked cool. So I went and bought it. And like it didn't, my body shape, size, height, everything, like there's just some shoes that don't look good in a size 12. There's just some people that don't look good in skinny jeans. There's just, you know what I mean? But the foolishness of it, like spent it, wore it, looked in the mirror, looked ridiculous, never wore it again, right? Like, and I'm grateful for that because I see people that do that and look foolish and they just keep doing it. So I guess I'm grateful that I recognize the foolishness when I looked in the mirror. But how many times do we see something and it is appealing, right? It's attractive, whether it's a type of dress, whether it's a motorcycle, car, boat, house, occupation, title, whatever it is. And then, like, we want to be that instead of asking ourselves, like, you want it for the image, but not for the substance of it. I know people that own stuff they don't even use, and it really just owns you. It becomes your master. Um, because they keep it for image. They don't really need to use it. They just have it just to say that they have it, right? Because in their mind, it's some status thing. And I've done this before in my past. This is something that God had to deal with me on, and I'm grateful that I can talk about it and be honest about it. Like, it is okay. If you ask yourself that question and the answer is you're projecting, like, that's okay. Listen, I did it. I think everybody has done it or does it. I want to tell you the dangers, though, of projection, like where you're trying to project an image. I got quite a bit of experience dealing with narcissistic people. I'm sure it was God ordained. I feel like I have a master's degree in it that I never asked for. But one thing like every narcissist has in common is a facade, and they spend all their effort and time creating it, manicuring it, maintaining it. And this involves lies, right? And, they obviously have some other issues past that, but they defend that image. I mean, they do awful, terrible, disgusting things to defend that image. And it's fragile, right? That's why they have fragile egos. They can't ever be wrong. They can't, you know what I mean? Like accountability or their lies being exposed are like their greatest fears because they literally worship the image that they have spent every ounce of energy on developing. It takes less energy, time, and effort to develop substance, your character, who you are, come into alignment with it, work out whatever issues you have, um, and be what you are intended to be, than it does to forgo all of that, have an ugly heart, have, ugly character, live in lies, but deceive the whole world into thinking you're something that you're not. It's really like it's sad. Like I feel terrible because it is like circular living. Like you are on a roundabout with no exit and you're just going in the same circles. And it's got to be so unsatisfying, but there's like this lure that you're just constantly chasing in this circle. You're always, I got to have this. I got to look like this. I got to, you're always worried about that stuff instead of like just being who you are, who God made you to be and getting off that off ramp. But if you project an image, it becomes an idol. You worship it. And that's why like narcissists, like they worship that. It is a graven image to them. It's their image that they want the world to see. And as long as everybody believes this lie that they made, they can feel okay. When in actuality, the reason that they don't feel okay is because they have a fracture in their identity. And the reason that their identity is fractured is because they have come into alignment with so many lies from the enemy about themselves that they no longer recognize who they are. And they are stuck in this roundabout circle of having to project an image because they're having an identity crisis. They do not know who they are. They're so far from who they were made to be and who they started off as. Whenever somebody interjected trauma or insecurity or, told them lies about them, whatever trauma happened that sent them that direction, there's been such an amount of time from that event to now that their identity is fractured and they don't, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know the solution to somebody that far gone. I just know that the prevention of getting that far gone is like aligning with your identity. It's who God says we are. It's in His Word. It's promises. Um, and you were made to be unique. Like some people are just born to be artists. Some people are born to be musicians. Some people are born to be engineers. Some people are just born to be very eclectic. Um, the world has made this word normal, like that's what you want to be, but it's everything you don't want to be. Like I did a video, I think like a year ago, that explained like normal is just another word for common. Nobody wants to be called common, regular, right? But the devil will play on those words. And now normal, everybody wants to be normal, right? Like, don't be you. Trust me. You weren't made common. You weren't made regular. You weren't made to be normal. Don't let that devil's play on words get you in your head and think that your best life is pretending to be something that you're not, because it isn't. Your best life is being who you are, because that is aligning your identity to what God says, his word that can't be wrong. And after that, you can step in purpose. You can move in power, and there is contentment and satisfaction there. There is a better group of friends there. It is like this growing spiral effect of everything that you ever want in life. It just gets added to you after that point. It really is like the first step. So I do have some scripture. I'm going to read it. So the scripture that I have for reflecting is Colossians 3, 9 and 10. It says, "Do not lie to each other, since you have taken off your old self with its practices and have put on the new self, which is being renewed in knowledge in the image of its creator." All right. That in itself talks about this process, right? And when it says do not lie to each other, when you project something that you aren't inherently, when you cater to what you think people expect you to look like, dress like, act like, words, conversation, that you are living a lie. You are selling your identity, your truth for acceptance. And you're probably chasing the acceptance of people that God doesn't even want in your life. I've never seen, all right, I take that back. I can't say I've never seen, but I see more people work the hardest to impress people they don't even like, when the people that we should be trying to impress are our family, the people that love us, that support us, the ones that most people will take for granted, right? Those are the people we should be impressing. But I love in this where it says we have to put on the new self, which is being renewed in knowledge, in the image of its creator. All right. Because that is the process that God walked me through. And when I came out of the other side, there's a lot of things I looked back and I felt foolish about, but there's freedom there. It is the most freeing, liberating, like you want to talk about chains falling off, feeling lighter. You know what I mean? Like I'm just a goofball, man. I am like I say, like sometimes I really uh try to say some of the most off the wall stuff just to make people laugh. Like, and these are strangers in like Walmart and stuff. And sometimes I get on a roll and I get like 10 in a row, like at a shopping experience. And it literally like you can just see their disposition brighten up and they laugh. Like it's very unexpected. Um, and I can do that because I'm comfortable with like who I am. Like that's how my mind works. I just see funny things. And, sometimes I just take the filter off and let my mouth just say how my mind works and how it sees things. All right. So the scripture that I got for projection is going to take some explanation. All right. So it's Deuteronomy 7:25. All right. And the context of this, for the several paragraphs before this is, you know, God telling the Hebrews that they're going to have victory, that they're going to be able to take this promised land from these heathens that worship false gods. And he's basically warning them not to follow them in their footsteps and follow their ways, or take these things that they've worshiped and, what I mean, take them for themselves as plunder. And it gets to 725, it reads as this. It says, "The images of their gods you are to burn in the fire," right? So these are their idols, that what they have worshiped, and these idols have made them an enemy of God to begin with. All right. And God says, "Do not covet the silver or gold on them, and do not take it for yourselves, or you will be ensnared by it, for it is detestable to your God." And so the problem here isn't with the silver and gold. All right. It is the fact that the silver and gold was placed on these idols. These people worship this, and they became detestable to God. They became enemies of God. And God's people were coming in to take this land, but not the traditions, not these things, these images, right? that these people worshiped, and this gold and silver, like it's gold and silver, it's valuable, but God didn't even want them to touch it because it would ensnare them like it did the people before. So when you see these these musicians wearing, all of this revealing clothing, rappers wearing 27 chains, all this stuff, like they're projecting an image, right? That is what they think everybody expects them to be. That's why they all dress the same, right? It is for effect, and that effect is for people to see them and, you know what I mean, to think they're important and rich and all of these things. They're literally putting on this image of all this worthless stuff. And that's not who God made them to be. He gave them talents and skills so they could be successful, so they could be influential in a positive way. And they accepted this image and they worship that. And now their influence isn't positive. And now other people try to put on that image and it enslaves them. This is that all that time and effort that people put into projecting an image instead of on their substance and who they are. When you project that, you become a slave to it. It owns you. You have to maintain it. There's a cost, right? Like, especially like the people that chase trends, right? They change all the time. You're spending all your money on, I know people that got closets full of clothes they don't even wear because they're chasing trends. Like it is all about image. And I'm not saying don't dress nice. I'm just saying don't dress like some joker on television that's not even living their life right to fit in with people that are chasing the same joker that's not living his life right. I mean, you are a slave to that. It's become your master. It is an idol. You bow to it. And as long as you do that, like God's going to love you. He's going to provide for you. He's going to clothe you. He's going to feed you, but he can't use you and he can't give you what he wants to give you. True blessings are confidence, comfort, satisfaction, peace, love. And he needs to get your identity right. He needs to get you in his image. So then he can give you the resource and you can have a nice house. You can have a nice vehicle. They become additions. But if you are going to worship that house and that vehicle for the projection of who you want people to think you are, he's just given you another idol in your life, and he will not do that. He loves you too much to do that. And he would rather subtract everything in your life and break you down to your core than give you things that are going to broaden that gap between him and you. All right. Because it's funny, God's got a way and an ability to remove everything in your life. All right. And bring you down to nothing. And it's parallel to how close you get to him, right? Like I remember I met God in a dark place. That's when I finally dropped to my knees. That's when I finally said, I can't do this anymore. If you're there, if you're listening, I need this. And he showed up. And so, again, I ask you the question, are you reflecting his image? Are you reflecting who he made you to be? Your true identity, flaws, gifts, uncommonness? Are you projecting this image that the world has tricked you into thinking that you need to be accepted, to be normal? Because if you're doing that projection thing, you're a slave. You have a master. His name isn't God. All right. It is pride. It is vanity. It is ego, all in the name of fitting in somewhere that you were never meant to fit in to begin with. And this is why your life isn't satisfying. This is why you don't feel truly loved by the people that are around you. We attract what we advertise. So if you project somebody that you're not, you're advertising for things that will never make you happy. And it's so simple that when you realize that it's happened in your life and you correct it, you're gonna feel a little silly, a little foolish for ever subscribing to that lie. But you can make that change today and you can deal with that little foolish, silly feeling that's temporary. And you can start to really explore who you are, who God made you to be. And it is so empowering. It is so liberating. I promise you, if you do it, you will never ever go back. Like I know it. I know it. It is revelational. It is my vocabulary fails me, but it is beautiful. So, but that's what I got for you guys. I love y'all. Tomorrow's Friday, going to this weekend, and just know, like Jesus loves you. Like I don't care who doesn't love you. I don't care if the world hates you. We were made in the image of a loving Father who created the whole universe. The stars in the sky hang there because he said so. That's who loves you. It doesn't matter what else you have going on. That right there. And the fact that you have breath in your lungs today means that he's still got plans for you. It's not over. It's not done. He's gonna work on you. Sometimes it don't feel good. Most of the time for me, it doesn't feel good. And the results are good. So I love you guys. Man, just go rock this weekend. Smile on your face. Don't let the world take it. And man, hopefully see you guys soon.